Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking Sega Saturn. Over on my Twitch page I've been doing a lot of streaming of the Sega Saturn lately, playing through a couple of games, and I've just been feeling the Sega mood, you know, especially Saturn, Dreamcast, that era. And so I figured, why not show you my Sega Saturn collection? Hopefully you can get some good recommendations of games to play, or, you know, otherwise add some stuff to your wish list. It's always a good time to go through these collection videos. So this is just my North American Saturn collection. I do have separately a import Japanese Sega Saturn collection. If you want to see that collection video, let me know. But for now, we're just going to be going through what I have for the North American Saturn. And this is in not really any sort of order. I'll say that now. They were at one point in alphabetical order, but the stacks have been moved and rearranged. So you might see things in kind of occasionally alphabetical order, we'll call it. And we're going to start here with Virtual On Cyber Troopers. So, Virtual On, this is the type of game that I just wish we saw more of, right? This is very emblematic of what makes Sega Sega. You know, you got those blue skies, just arcadey, dumb fun. You know, on Dreamcast, I'm a Power Stone guy. And I think that that era of, like, you know, sort of like arcadey multiplayer, like low stakes multiplayer, is kind of gone. Everything these days, I think, that's multiplayer, at least that I see, is often either very obviously, you know, like intensely free to play, trying to get all your money and all your time type of multiplayer, or there are indie developers that are making local couch co-op or couch multiplayer, but those games tend to be more like goofy or silly, you know. It's like mount your friends and stuff like that. So this is like a nice battleground of still trying to be like, I don't know, goofy but still kind of cool. And yeah, Virtual On, very fun game. Next up here we have the port of Wipeout. This one I believe I just got in a lot of some other games. I mean, Wipeout is a great game, but I associate Wipeout a little more closely with the PS1 version. And now that I'm looking at it, I don't actually know if I've played this one to compare it to the PS1 version. When I want to play Wipeout, I have Wipeout HD on the PS4, so I usually just play that. But all the same, I love the artwork on that. I love these like high-speed racers. So this is kind of like a nice addition when I got some other games. We have X-Men Children of the Atom. This is a fighting game. This is a very well-loved fighting game. I mean, you can tell it has like the 5 out of 5 Game Pros down there. Pardon me as I try to avoid that circle the entire time, but we'll do what we can. Yeah, I actually have a little bit of nostalgia for X-Men. I'm not a big comic book guy, but I did used to watch the X-Men show back in the 90s. And so every now and again, I like to play as these characters, especially in games sort of that era. And I don't know if this is the ideal version. You know, maybe the Japanese version is better. Fighting game fans on Saturn, I'll say this now. You're probably already in my comments section. And I respect you and I support you, but I'm not one of you. Fighting game fans on Saturn are hardcore, man. They will tell you that, like, oh, the import version is the only version worth playing. The North American version is worthless because it's missing 2 frames of animation on this one character, or like this particular scaling is gone. And I'm like, I hear you. I believe you that matters to you. For me, I just want to play as Wolverine and punch some guys. I'm not too hard to please. So, X-Men Children of the Atom. Don't have a lot of fighters, but that's one of the few that I have kept. Ooh, one of my faves on the system, we got Sonic R. Great racing game. I'm such a sucker for on-foot racing games. So like Sonic R, Running Wild, Mad Dash Racing, those types of games. It's just, I don't know, it's novel. Bomberman Fantasy Race. But yeah, great to see these characters in 3D. You know, this is one of the first times you could ever see a Sonic character in 3D. And even though there's not that many tracks, I think the replayability makes up for it. The soundtrack, I'm a huge fan of the soundtrack, and I'm feeling the sunshine when I'm playing this one. So this is a high recommendation for me. I think that if you own a Saturn, this is kind of like essential reading, basically. It's so good. All right, we're gonna get into, I might as well do all of these now. Let's do this stack here. We're gonna do the trio of Shining Force games. So let's start with the one of these that I have played so far, and that is Shining Wisdom. Also, man, I love these old Working Designs covers, like this shiny foil font and stuff like that. They really knew how to do it up right. But yeah, Shining Wisdom, if you've never played it, this is kind of a Zelda action RPG style game. You know, a little Zelda, a little Ys in there. And it works surprisingly well. Some parts are a little dull and some parts are a little hard to navigate, but if you are into Shining Wisdom, or if you're into Zelda, you'll like Shining Wisdom. This is very fun, and I think this one is of these. I want to say it's one of the more. It might not be the most expensive Shining Force. I guess nothing on Saturn is really obtainable, but yeah, that was fun. I streamed that one and had a good time with it. Shining Force 3, I have not checked this one out yet because I have played through Shining Force 1 back on the Genesis there, and I'm like halfway through Shining Force 2, so I want to finish 2 before I get around to 3. But I've heard nothing but good things. My buddy Trav, that I co-host Polykill with, he's playing through actually Shining Force 3 right now. He's loving it, so it's recommended. And then we have Shining the Holy Ark. So this one is one that I'm maybe even more intrigued than Shining 3 to play. This is a dungeon crawler, and I can every now and again a dungeon crawler gets its hooks into me. You know, not all the time, but every so often I'm playing like an Etrian Odyssey or something, and suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, I want a dungeon crawl. And this one, I mean, all of these are Camelot developed, right? So these games feel like first-person dungeon crawler versions of Golden Sun in a lot of ways if you play Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance. So it just has that energy to it. It's like a perfect mix of what makes Shining Force, but also dungeon crawler. Just very, very cool. Good time. Got a classic one here, Nights into Dreams. This is the type of game that you kind of have to make your own fun with, because I think a lot of people pop in Nights and they say to themselves, I don't know what to do. This is kind of random. And they dip after like 10 minutes. But you have to either like learn the weird, intricate systems, go for combos, have fun trying to improve your score, or just appreciate the vibe of it all if you're going to enjoy Nights, because it's not a very structured game. Like there's not a lot of like, I mean, there's levels and stuff, so there is structure, but it's not the type of game that's putting like a waypoint and saying, go here now, go here now. It's sort of a score chasey arcade level based game that doesn't explain its rules to you super clearly, so you have to do a little bit of your own investigation. But I just love the vibe. I love the energy that Sega had with characters at this time, and I don't play this one as much. I mean, I play it, and I do have the circle pad controller to play it with, but every year I do play the Christmas Nights into Dreams on Christmas Eve. That's like kind of a tradition that I have. So this one was a gift from my wife, and she knows me so well. We got Mr. Bones. This is such a weird relic of the era. I mean, talk about games that would never come out again. Kind of a 2D platformer that also sometimes is a rhythm game. It's just strange, very quirky. You play as this skeleton character, and you will collapse as you take damage, and so you'll like, you know, you'll lose an arm, you'll lose a leg, eventually you'll just be like a rolling head or something like that. Just very, like, as you watch it, it got fever dream energy for sure. I'd like to do a deeper dive into this one, because I think this one would actually be worth like a whole video on at some point. But that's just a classic. All right, next up. Another one that I got in a lot. I don't know that this is the way that I would play it, but I have Mech Warrior 2 on Sega Saturn. I actually used to play a lot of Mech Warrior 2 back in the day. I got Mech Warrior 2. There was a dollar store near me years after Mech Warrior 2 came out, and the dollar store had old copies of Mech Warrior 2, so I bought that, and I used to play it on the family PC all the time. But I've not dug into the Saturn version. I'm sure that this version is probably a little bit hard relative to the PC version, but you know, Mech Warrior, not always my genre. I don't think of myself as like a mech fighter guy or like a mech combat guy, especially ones that are more strategic like this. But if you get in the right headspace, you can have a lot of fun, and I just happen to be very nostalgic for Mech Warrior 2, so I hung on to that. All right, we've got another trilogy of games here, starting with Panzer Dragoon. and going into Panzer Dragoon Zwei. Both of these phenomenal rail shooters on the Saturn. I mean, these are poster children of the Saturn. You don't really need me to sell you on buying or playing the Panzer Dragoon games, but I will say I think both of these are excellent. Neither of them are my favorite Panzer Dragoon. That's actually Panzer Dragoon Orda on the Xbox. I love that game. But, you know, how much fun is it to fly on a dragon's back and just fire off some homing lasers? That's objectively good times video game wise, you know. And then of course the trio rounder is Panzer Dragoon Saga. This is a turn-based RPG, so a real left turn there. And I think that this game really is a standout. You know, it has this reputation for its price and things like that, and that's unfortunate because I think its legacy should be that it was doing something different. You know, it's got this very unique setting that's like, it's like a little bit Western mixed with like strange architecture, odd music. Like, even like a lot of times the weather in this game is like oppressive, purple, cloudy. It's just, something about it has this like rainy day RPG somber kind of energy to it. And then the turn-based battle being, you know, you could ride dragons and do turn-based battles and stuff like that. You're fighting battleships and other dragons and things like that. It is really cool. And it has the bonus of not being crazy long either. It's 4 discs, but I think it's you'll easily get it in under 20 hours. So yeah, hopefully someday this can be more widely available to more people because it is cool and it does deserve to have a reputation. It's just sad that its reputation became that it's just so hard to come by. All right, we have Iron Storm. This is one of the Working Designs games on Saturn that I have not played. This one is more of like a tactical strategy game, so I've sort of been putting it off a little bit. But love that cover, and again, like I said, just kind of like MechWarrior with Mech Combat games, I'm usually not in the mood for this type of game right up until I am. So it's nice to have a few around for when I want to play it. The Horde. This is I described this game on my buddy Gunstar Heroes stream as the type of game that people poke at but never finish, and I'm one of those people. I've never gotten too far into this game at all. It's a very interesting sort of like, I don't even know how to describe it, man. It's a like almost like a tower defense game. It's kind of puzzly. It's a little strange to navigate, but a little strange to wrap your head around. But this is like the type of game that is so emblematic of the mid 90s to me, right? Like this was coming out on like PCs and stuff, these types of games. And people were eating them up. I think of a game that I actually played a lot and enjoyed on PC that for some reason reminds me of this one, even though they're not the same genre, is Dungeon Keeper on PC, which is a game focused on you know, building out dungeons and traps and things like that. But yeah, definitely one that I want to sink some teeth into. Almost certainly going to stream that one. Massive respect to anyone that's ever finished that game. Hang On GP. You know, I don't have a lot of motorcycle-based racing games, so that's why I hung on to this one. I've not put a ton of time into it. I've put a little bit of time into it. I don't know that this is the game that most people are really affectionate for in the Hang On series, but maybe I just need to put a little more time into it and really appreciate it for what it is. Galactic Attack, a scrolling shooter. This is one of the first games I actually got on the Saturn. I remember I found it at a half-price books, and for some reason they only had it marked for $20. I mean, this is back when the game was like a $60 game, so that wasn't like a crazy steal, but I remember thinking, what's a Saturn game doing at a used bookstore? This is amazing. I've tried multiple times to beat this game, and I always get bodied towards the end. It's not, I don't think, too difficult in terms of like the shooter rankings or anything like that. It's just, I'm not very good at these games, but I do really like this one. It's got great music, very fun, good energy to it. This is an interesting cover. You know, this is a really cool cover, but I feel like it kind of undersells a little bit of like the energy of the game itself. The game is much more chaotic than this sort of like open, just outside a planet's atmosphere type of cover. All right, what do we got next here? Another one of the Working Designs titles, we have Dragon Force. This one is more of like a strategy RPG. I actually a couple years ago played Ogre Battle 64, and I bet I'll like this one now more having played Ogre Battle 64. It is definitely one of the harder ones to come by on the system. It's definitely not cheap, but I mean, it's sometimes you can kind of understand why. It's just got something about this Working Designs template with this foiled font, these like images that line the outside. It's something. There's something about that is just so nostalgic to me. And yeah, this is another one I'll stream for sure. Another racer, we got Daytona USA. This is the type of game that most people that own a Saturn are going to have. You know, early 3D racing, you gotta love it. I don't personally have too much to say about it because I haven't put a ton of time into it. Darius Gaiden. So another scrolling shooter. I love the Darius games. I like this like aquatic meets interstellar energy that they have going on, and I love that in these Darius games you have branching paths. So like depending on what you do, you can choose one direction or the other to go and make things easier or harder on yourself. It makes like replayability quite good, but this is a tough game. This one is brutal, so kudos to anyone that has finished this one. I was not able to get all the way through it, but I do enjoy it. Another pair of games, I think both of these I've actually streamed. Clockwork Knight and Clockwork Knight 2. Just great little charming 2D platformers. They're very similar if you've ever played like the Toy Story games on Sega Genesis. You just play as this little toy character. His name's like, what is it, Pepperoncino or something like that? Pepperoni Tony? Thomas Pepperson? Something like that. But both of these are pretty similar. You're just going to do 2D side-scrolling levels, combat, and fight a couple of bosses, you know. Healthy couple of hours, and you're in, you're out, you had a good time. Good, innocent fun. Solid, like, you know, 3 or 4 out of 5 type fun. All right. Next up here we have another one of the bigger ones in my collection, and another one with a great cover. We have Magic Knight Rayearth. This one, I actually never watched the anime back in the day. I think I've seen an episode or two, but I was not like a fan that followed it. But this is like an interesting action RPG. You can play as the different characters, and it's it kind of has some similar energy to like Shining Wisdom that I showed earlier. Or like maybe some East type games and stuff like that. Not too long. I got like halfway through this one. I was having my fun with it. You know, I was enjoying the working designs of it all in terms of the localization and all that. But I just got distracted. I forget what happened. I got to go back and give that one another fair shake because I really do need to finish this one. We have Lunacy. This is a point-and-click FMV adventure game. I actually just played this one last October on stream. If you like D, this is in that lineage, so you'll definitely have a good time with this one. Weird, uncanny voice acting, strange locations, odd puzzle solutions, everything you want from this type of obscure adventure game. Just weird, unsettling, stakes rise into this like strange, magical, I guess, tower utopia. It's odd. I mean, look at these screenshots and you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. But this is my type of game. I love stuff that's just a little hard to parse, you know, a little strange to digest. Maybe the polar opposite of those two, we have Bug and Bug 2. These games get dunked on a little bit. I don't really think that that's fair. You know, these are fun. They are like puzzle platformer games, kind of. They're more meticulous than a typical platformer. You're doing more puzzling and moving around. This is very like early 3D, kind of showing off what they're capable of in some ways. And if you're like wanting just to try out like a platformer / puzzle game that it's a little different, right? It's a little more structured, but also creative, and I think you'll like both of these. I have finished the first one, and I have not finished the second one, if I recall correctly. So I have to get around to finishing Bug 2 at some point. We have another in our sort of FMV cartoon games, we have Blazing Dragons. This is one that I have not played through, but it does seem like a good time. I do enjoy games like this or Dragon Slayer, whatever it might be. If you like Dragon Slayer, you'll like that one. A Stall, beautiful 3D platformer, almost kind of beat 'em up in its gameplay. It's not as slow as a beat 'em up. It's more like action, almost like character action, I guess. But it is side-scrolling, and you're getting into groups of enemies and fights and things like that. Yeah, it's got this really excellent sort of like almost watercolor, very painted aesthetic. Really nice to look at. A game that I think hangs itself largely on its visuals, but the gameplay is very solid to look at. You know, kind of a top-tier visuals, mid-tier gameplay, averages out to quite a good game. The one thing that's always interesting about this game that people will point out, and it bugs me too, is that the spine doesn't say the name of the game. It's the only game that I know of on Saturn that is like that. So when it's sitting on your shelf, it's just an empty spine. All right, we have last couple here. We have Area 51. This is a light gun shooter. This is one that I actually like in terms of light gun shooters. This one's pretty fun. I used to play this in the arcade a lot, and this version of it is done quite well. So if you like, you know, kind of like pop and shoot type light gun games, you know, you want to blow up explosive barrels to destroy enemies and feed quarters into your virtual arcade cabinet in your Saturn, you'll have a good time with Area 51. I think it was a good port. Midway's Arcade Greatest Hits. This is one that I just kept around mostly for Tempest and a little for Super Breakout, I suppose. So this is just one of those collections of a couple of arcade games. I mean, you can play most of these almost anywhere, so it's not anything too special, but having Tempest on hand on Saturn is a good time. That's the arcade game that I'll probably most likely want to go play, but I do enjoy some brick breaking as well. And then last up here we have Albert Odyssey, Legend of Eldine. This is a turn-based RPG, and this is one that I have not gotten around to yet. I think I maybe played like an hour of it, but I would functionally say I haven't played it. But similar to the ones that I mentioned before, this is a working designs game, so you know what you're getting in for in terms of its localization. And I've heard that this game is actually pretty dang fun. This is a series I know absolutely nothing about, so this will be exciting because it's like completely fresh to me. I need to really sink in and give some time. And that is my entire Sega Saturn collection. A lot of those games I picked up years and years and years ago. I mean, most folks know that these days Saturn is very hard to collect for, very hard to come by. I do still add the occasional game here and there as I'm able to, but a lot of these... Oh, I forgot one. Legend of Oasis, the one that I'm streaming. You gotta include Legend of Oasis. Come on, this is a great action RPG. Sequel to Beyond Oasis on the Genesis? Can't believe I almost left this guy out. Yeah, this one is definitely recommended. I'm really close to finishing this on stream at present. There's a link to my Twitch in the description if you ever want to come watch me play any of these games. But yeah, Legend of Oasis is also very cool. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't really collect a lot of Saturn anymore just because it's hard to do. Not that I have consciously stopped. It's just, you know, gotta be responsible with your money. So there are, of course, many other great ways to play these games. I would say many of these are play it any way you can type of situations. And just appreciate the Saturn for what it is, right? However you can play it, it's about connecting with that, like, mid-90s aesthetic, that mid-90s energy, that early 3D. No one quite knew exactly what they were doing. The ports from arcades were getting better. The new IPs were like trying to find their footing. It's just such like it's a magical time in gaming. I swear, I love it so much. But with that, I will say thanks for watching the entire thing. And if you have any recommendations for games in Saturn that I should pick up that I do not have here, please let me know. And until next time, peace.